So why did I choose nursing over being a PA or a doctor?
I like turtles.
What's good, you guys? NWA here, Nurse Pat, coming at you again with some more heat. This is a topic that I get asked about every now and then, so I feel that it's a good video to talk about. Just going back, since I was in high school, I wanted to become a doctor. Now, I've always had this interest in the medical or health field, so I knew that I wanted to be in something like that. Ever since I was younger, I felt that I had an interest in the health and medical field. And on top of that, just being able to help people felt like it was a good profession. I even applied to college as a biology major because I thought I was going to try to go to med school. So for one semester, I was biology, and then I switched over to pre-nursing. So why did I make the switch? First of all, mama had a little bit of persuasion.
Mama said that. My mama said that. My mama said.
My mom's been a nurse for over 20 years. She started off as a caregiver, then a CNA, then an LVN, then an RN. And now she has her master's. Now this video isn't to bash on any of the professions. Being a PA and an MD is very respectable, amazing jobs. Props to them, honestly. Like, I really feel like they're good jobs to have. But I'm here to talk about my personal rationale. You know, I'm not trying to persuade you guys. I'm just letting you guys know this is how I felt when I made my decision. Number one, more schooling and debt. Personally, I hated going to school. You know, I felt like I couldn't handle more years and years of school. We're gonna dig deep on the finances part of this towards the end of the video, because I think you might be surprised. Being a PA or an MD requires a lot of time on your end. I have always cared about work-life balance. I don't think my life should just be work, 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 make that money, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I need to have hobbies, I need to be able to socialize and, you know, do stuff that I really want to do. I felt like, you know, in the future, once I do finally have my own family, I do have my own kids, I want to be able to be there for them as they grow up. So for instance, I don't want to be missing my little man's basketball game if I can't even go due to work. Or I don't want to miss my little girl's ballet recital because I gotta go to work. I don't want to be called up at home and everything, blowing up my cell phone, getting paged all the time when I'm just trying to chill at home with my family.
I'm having chest pain.
I love having my days off. I feel that it allows me to de-stress, it allows me to spend the time with the people I care about, it allows me to do what I want to do, and it allows me to have that balance.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
What I will say though, in terms of cons for nursing, is that you don't have the autonomy as a PA or doctor has, of course. You're more of like the soldier, and they're like the generals and the commanders or whatever. But if you do go for your nurse practitioners, you can have a little bit more autonomy. That would be like 2 more years of extra schooling. But I'm focusing on comparing just a regular RN. So getting your associates or bachelor's and just straight up working. Now, another thing that needs to be mentioned, in my opinion, is that when you're a nurse, you're able to build more rapport with the patient and have more compassionate care, because we're the ones that are with the patient 24/7 pretty much, because they're only in the patient room for a minimum amount of time. Some doctors, they don't even see the patient. They'll just call the nurses and it'll be like, oh, hey, how's Miss So-and-so doing? And that's it. And then they'll like make their doctor's note saying, oh, patient is doing okay, blah, 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 but they didn't even see the patient, right? I feel that I've had like so much meaningful conversations with my patients. You know, a lot of the old people, they have a ton of wisdom.
I remember when they first invented chocolate. Sweet, sweet chocolate.
They always have good advice towards everything, and they just love talking, right? Some people talk a little too much. Another thing that I think that's nice about being an RN is there's just an enormous amount of lateral mobility you have in terms of where you can go, what type of unit you want to work for, what kind of job you want to do. There's so many different fields, and you could really move around and see what's best for you. I mean, you can, as being a doctor and PA as well, but there's different steps towards it, I'm sure. And especially for a doctor, if you need to go to a specialty, you need to have a fellowship. And that's like an extra 3 years of residency basically. And it's a lot of sacrifice just to do that. So if you pick a specialty and you find out you don't like it, that was a lot of time. But with all this, I do wonder sometimes, you know, what would have happened if I did go for med school? You know, what would my life be like? What kind of sacrifices would I have made? And all that stuff. My older brother has went through med school. He is now doing his residency. And I saw the sacrifice that he had to take. It takes a lot of discipline, commitment, and sacrifice in order to do med school. So let's talk about the financials of being an RN versus a PA versus an MD. Now, the things that I'm about to say are all rough estimates, of course. So give or take the standard deviations here. I'm gonna use the salaries based on the Bay Area and just using the quotes that Glassdoor have given. So you're gonna have a lot of big range because a lot of times salary depends on your location and the hospital. So for SF Bay Area, RNs on average make roughly $115K per year. Now I will tell you that this is a lowball estimate for a big hospital, but we're going on averages. PA, average SF base salary is about $139K. Again, now I'm sure a lot of PAs make way more than that. Now, being a doctor, this is even more all over the place because it depends on your specialty, your location, and the hospital. Now, if you're doing a specialty, a lot of times you have to do a fellowship, which is an additional 3 years. So I'm gonna leave them out of that for now, for simplicity's sakes, and just go with the average salary for a hospitalist who doesn't have to go through the extra 3 years and just do their plain residency. Glassdoor says the average hospitalist in the SF Bay Area is $175K. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are making way more than that, but we have to keep things simple in this video. So now that you have those 3 average salaries for the Bay Area, SF specifically, let's take a look at the schooling cost and the debt. I'm not gonna talk about undergrad because that's just gonna depend on where you go. I'm just gonna talk about how as an RN, you can pretty much start working after you get your degree, either associates or bachelor's. I'm gonna talk about bachelor's because it's more in line with the undergrad 4 years that PAs and MDs need to take anyways. So as a nurse, you will start working before these guys, making that $115K per year while they're still in school. Just a quick Google search with the average PA school cost, I saw that it's roughly $75K for a total of 3 years. Now in those 3 years, I'm assuming that with how intense things are, you're only gonna be able to do very minimal working and stuff, part-time, maybe like 2 to 3 days max. And most likely it would be some type of entry-level job, making you either minimum wage to as much as maybe 30 if you're lucky per hour. Then with med school, we're talking about 4 years of schooling, an average of about 200K debt total, and you will barely be able to work at all, if any. And this is just based on like people who I've asked and based on my brother's feedback. You're just way too busy and you have to study like every single day. You have to. So I know what you guys are saying. Oh, once they're PAs or doctors, they're gonna catch up so quick, get that debt out of the way, all that stuff. But it really depends on the person. Being responsible with your money is most important out of everything. When you start working as an RN, you have that head start. You get to work, make a lot of money, and hopefully you're saving and investing. If that RN is blowing their money away super quick, not even saving or anything, living paycheck to paycheck, renting a house or apartment that's way too much for them, then of course, it's not gonna be ideal, and the doctor and PA are gonna blow them out of the water. The way that I try to do things is the 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% goes towards your necessities. So your housing and all your basic monthly costs like your car, internet, insurance, food, everything goes in there, including leisure and all that stuff, right? Half of your take home goes there. 30% of your take home goes towards investing. So I'm personally invested in stocks. I really find interest in it. And in the long term, it's a great way to build your wealth. And then 20% you leave towards your savings. If the RN does this, they're gonna have a huge head start. So not only the years they're working, but the fact that they're investing and saving and doing what they do, you're gonna have a huge head start. Now times that by 3 years on top of investing, you're gonna be ahead of the league. You got time on your side while the others are still in school racking up debt. But like I said, it all depends on the mindset of the person. Or maybe you could just YOLO everything on Wall Street bets. Sorry, that was a lot of ranting about the financials, but I feel that it's definitely something that people need to think about, especially if you're first starting to get into the workforce. Like, this is some adulting stuff that I had to learn on my own, and it's stuff that, you know, they don't teach you in school. That's all I got for you guys. Let me know if you like this content. These are some basic reasons why I chose to be a nurse rather than a doctor or PA, but who knows what will happen in the future. There's always different paths you could take. If you're feeling the content, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my other videos if you haven't already. As always, stay safe, stay humble. I'm out.